every day. So that comes into play when it is showtime. So if your pig, it's important to also know your pig. So like the first bullet says, if your pig is a runner, you need to make sure that you walk them a little bit before your showmanship class. Something that my parents always told me, which you don't have to be super intense about, but we didn't come to the fair to ride rides. We can go to Kings Island later. So on show day, it's really important that you're not hanging out, eating a snow cone with your friends. You need to be there in the morning. You need to wash your pig. You need to make sure it's full, happy, ready for the day. And then again, if your pig's a runner and you need to walk a few laps, or if your pig gets overheated, you need to wash them right before you go into the show ring. Just get to know your pig, know what he/she likes on show day. Again, no oil products if it's hot, even if it's a show that you're allowed to. Not just like the heat just stays in your pig's pores then, and that's not good. Then have a spray bottle. Again, a long-term investment, one of those orange squirt bottles, or Weaver has one.
For $15 to $20, and as long as you tell your kid, I'm going to get you if you decide you're going to have a water fight and throw the sprayer, they'll last forever. But once they start the water fight, the tips break off and everything else.
Yeah. And then just like a small tidbit, in showmanship, if I get pinned, my dad always like rolls by and just hangs the spray bottle on the side of the gate, and then I take care of my pig, just to kind of show that I can do it. That's just a little thing that we do. Don't be late to the ring. Again, like I just said, you're there to show pigs that day, so a lot of times if you're late to the ring, the judge notices that, and you're not going to get pinned because of it, even if you're doing the best job in the class. Make sure that you have a brush that fits easily in your pocket. I'm really superstitious. I have a pair of cow socks I wear, and I still use the same lucky brush I got when I was 7. So I still use the little brush even in the market shows. I don't carry a brush or anything. I don't personally like that. I think it's a little bit awkward. But just whatever you're doing, make sure you're comfortable with it and that you can easily take that brush out, wipe the poop off the pig's butt, put it away. Some judges like towels, some don't. Kevin Wint hates towels, even though he gives away showpig.com towels.
Kevin Wint gives them, but he does not like
yeah.
you to have any.
So that's another thing where if you are doing the OHPIGS circuit, you'll get to know the judges a little bit more and you'll know what they like. And so it's just, again, I mentioned in the last group, a lot of times when you're in showmanship, the older kids go first, so those younger kids need to be ringside. One, the judge could even notice later on that you were sitting there trying to learn, but a lot of times the first class of the day, the judge will sit there and say little tips such as, when you come out of the gate, I want you to pin your pig back and shut the gate and then start driving. That's what I like to do. Some judges like when you roll out of the gate and you have your pig's head up and you're like trying to shut the gate and all this stuff, but that's what they want. They don't ever want that pig to like look bad. So you get those tips within the first few classes of the senior division, and then your kid knows what they need to do for that day. It can be the difference between first and second or whatever, or even getting pinned and not getting pinned depending on what level of competition you have. So it's really important just to get to know the judge. Again, you're there to show pigs that day. When you enter the ring, make sure you have a plan. Like I said, what do you like to do when you're opening and closing the gates? If you're younger and you haven't been to a lot of shows, practice that morning. Just go up and see what kind of the gate is, how, if you need to lift it, whatever's gonna get your nerves calmed when you're out there. And then, yeah, pigs are social and like to visit. Avoid letting them socialize. You need to break from the crowd, show all angles, front, back, side, 3/4. Another thing that you need to do is have about 3 pigs in between you and the judge. A lot of people, you know, you see that big crowd, and so everyone's crowded and just like, oh, the judge isn't gonna see me unless I'm literally right on top of him. Eventually, if you like kind of just not like hang out, but like if you show your like the butt view of your pig and you just wait for that crowd to break, and then you drive straight to them, that like the judge is automatically gonna be like, wow, okay, they were paying attention, they know what they're supposed to do. So really just stay calm. The worst thing that can happen is you don't win, and you learned something that day. So it's again, just like stay calm. Your pig knows when you're nervous, and so don't over whip your pig because the judge isn't gonna like that. Just read the ring and have a plan, and that goes back to kind of what I said before. Always know where you're gonna drive to next, just like you practiced at home, you're driving to that fence post, that tree, your parents. Always have that specific plan, and then that's going to pay off when you get to the show ring.
From a parent standpoint, it's very hard for the littles to understand, well, Mia's my friend, I don't want to make her mad if I beat her. You've got to break them of that. If you have a good friend, they're going to be your friend when you go in the ring, and they're going to be your friend when you go out of the ring. And that's something as adults that we have to express to the kids living in the society we do today, because so much hatred and jealousy is out there. You need to make sure that your kid's paying attention, you know. Leah and I are standing beside each other. I shouldn't be talking to her. That's not why I'm in showmanship. I'm in showmanship to show that pig of that judge that's in that room. So you need to make sure that you re-emphasize that to your kids. And that means, you know, we always want to be friends with who we show with. That's where you make memories. But it's time to show, and we're here for that purpose. So I think a lot of littles have a hard time understanding that, because they're like, well, so-and-so's going to be mad at me. Well, if this is what you want to do, you know, like Gus wasn't athletic, Leah says she's not athletic, this was their sport, then we're here for business, and you can have friendship later.
When you get to the holding pin, that's when showmanship starts. I don't care if the judge is still placing the other class. They're glancing over and they're seeing who's leaning up against the fence, talking with their parents, with their friend, and they're seeing who's intensely watching that, making sure their pig's perfect and ready up against the gate with its nose ready to go. You don't necessarily have to crouch. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, depending on what I'm feeling that day or how stretchy my jeans are. But it's really just important to make sure that you know, okay, now it's showtime. You got to get into that mentality. Yeah, so keep the pig moving at all times. Head up is like the new trend. So that's, again, important to practice at home. Specifically, just real quick on the whole head up thing. The worst thing that you can do is, like you said before, getting your pig's head too high, or this little tassel here. Sometimes it can like whip around and like hit the pig's nose down, and then they're like, oh my god, what's going on? So it's really important, again, that you get a utensil that you're comfortable with, and that you practice with at home. Only use your hands like when you have to. I don't use my hands in showmanship. You're not supposed to have to. Your pig's supposed to be trained to the point where you don't need to. Keep your eye on the judge. You also, though, like, everyone's been in the class with that kid in showmanship who's just staring at the judge and just running into everybody. And, I mean, there's too much eye contact is a thing. So it's important to be looking at your pig and making that plan and then looking at the judge.
My little friend, remember a pig sandwich. You need to always make a pig sandwich. You, pig, judge. The pig should always be the meat part of the sandwich. So if you can keep that in the back of your mind and you never let that judge get on your side of the sandwich, you'll be pretty good.
Yeah, and then again, if you get too high or too up on its head, or you're messing with its head too much, your pig's gonna just start backing up because he's gonna be like, what's going on? So again, to make sure you stay calm in the show ring and that you're back where you need to be, and that you're just hitting its head up, hitting its side, whatever you need to do to get it going. Do not walk behind the pig. So like when you're like back behind and like you're like trying to get your pig still to go, just move over to the side. Try to find the judge's window of view and anticipate their moves. That comes with experience, but you know, you watch those first couple classes, you know, if the judge just leans up against the gate and lets you do all the work, or if they're going to go to the fence and want you to drive in a small place. You're going to learn kind of that judge's tendencies, and you'll be able to prepare for that.
That's fine.
Yeah, so here's just a little bit of a diagram. Don't hit your pig on the hock on number 3, but like 1 and 2 are acceptable. Also, never hit your pig on the hand. Slow pace. Again, you need to be giving all angles, the chest floor, the rear view, both sides, and then also like 3/4, because once there's only a couple of you out there, really just giving those different views and working the ring the correct way is what's gonna separate.
You can make a letter C or a